Welcome to the Mystic Media channel. I am your host, Rabina Rastavan, aka The Realist Astrologer. Today, I am going to get into a little astrology synastry, also known as compatibility. I specialize in relationship compatibility, and I believe that it's very important for everyone to understand what type of astrological influence that their relationship is under. So, for today, I am going to discuss the aspect of Mars square Venus in a synastry or compatibility chart. In particular, a man's Mars square a woman's Venus. So, if you're in a relationship and your partner's Mars squares your Venus, I'm going to discuss the implications of that. So basically, I consider Mars square Venus in synastry to be a bad romance. So, for one thing, there may be instant attraction, there may be a lot of chemistry at first. The sex may be very good. Actually, the sex may be too good, so it may blind you to the reality of the relationship. So, once the relationship gets going, that's when you're going to encounter some difficulties. You can expect to be in disagreement with him a lot. You can expect the relationship to feel one-sided. Basically, it's going to be his say. Um, he's going to project a very selfish persona, and there is a big chance of infidelity occurring within the relationship or marriage. Mars square Venus, in terms of synastry or compatibility, is one of the hardest aspects to overcome. So, just any relationship where there's Mars square Venus, it could be a romance, it could be just a fling, it could be a long-term relationship, marriage, even business partnership. You're going to have some difficulties with selfishness and with an imbalance of power. The worst is if it's a marriage or long-term relationship. If it's a fling, then, it's not really going to be much harm involved. So with the guy having his Mars and square to your Venus, you can expect him to take on a very dominant role. Although, depending on what sign his Mars is in, this dominant role may be unassuming at first glance. He may be the aggressor when it comes to disagreements or arguments, and there may be an element of cruelty within him. Um, he can be rude and inconsiderate of your feelings. And basically, he will always want to remain in the driver's seat. So he may be uncompromising when it comes to what he wants. When it comes to Mars square Venus, he could be very chauvinistic. And Mars square Venus is the classic battle of the sexes. So he could be very sexist in terms of his views of women. And Mars square Venus is just bad overall for commitment. So if you're trying to get him to commit to you, it may take a very long time or he may never commit. And like I said, there's a big chance of infidelity or cheating within a relationship where there's Mars square Venus. So you can also expect a great deal of manipulation. And Mars square Venus is also about love and war. So there'll be times where the relationship is going really well, but when the relationship is on the rocks, it will be like you're on a battlefield. So this relationship will go through cycles as well. So you will feel like you're constantly renewing the relationship and you will constantly be giving this guy another chance. So it'll be chance after chance that you're giving him. And after a while, you'll become very frustrated. So I chose a tarot card to represent Mars square Venus in a relationship. And the card that I drew was Three of Cups. So Three of Cups at first glance is a very positive card. However, it can be deceiving because if you're talking about a marriage or a committed relationship, usually there's either a third party or the spouse is just content upon fulfilling his desires, whether you're in agreement with it or not. Three of Cups on the negative end can be a card of excess. It can be a card of infidelity. It can be a card of divorce and marital problems in general. So when we're talking about long-term relationships, firm commitments, and marriage, the Three of Cups is not really a good sign. It's a card of having fun, having a ball, having a blast, but it can also be a card of an open relationship or a card of a love triangle. So that just shows it right there in a nutshell that yeah, Mars square Venus is not really a good indicator of a positive long-term fulfilling relationship. uh People could stay together with that aspect as long as they're willing to respect each other's right to be an individual, and as long as the person who has Mars in square to your Venus is going to sometimes hold back on their willful behavior at times and allow you to be in the driver's seat. But we're talking about human nature here. Most people, are basically exactly what their charts say. So with this Mars square Venus, you have a lot of obstacles ahead that need to be overcome. And a lot of times these obstacles cannot be overcome and it leads to divorce. So that's just my take on Mars square Venus. I'm going to provide more videos in terms of astrological aspects with synastry slash compatibility charts. So this is part of my relationships series. So stay tuned. Peace and blessings.